At a recent economic forum in Russia, one of Vladimir Putin's closest advisors made a statement that sent shockwaves through financial circles worldwide. Anton Kobyakov stood at that podium and accused the United States of orchestrating something massive. He said, "America is preparing to use cryptocurrencies and stablecoins to secretly wipe out its entire $37 trillion debt. Just erase it." According to him, the US plans to push the entire world into what he called a crypto cloud, reset the financial system, and leave everyone else holding worthless paper. Now, you might be thinking this sounds like another wild conspiracy theory from an enemy state. But here's the thing, there's actually a lot more truth to this than you might expect. And what's really happening behind the scenes is far more sophisticated and frankly more disturbing than even Russia understands. So first question, who exactly is this guy making these accusations? Anton Kobyakov isn't some random official or a fringe politician looking for attention. This man has been Vladimir Putin's senior economic advisor for over a decade. Think about that for a second. He's been in the room for every major Russian economic decision since 2012. When Russia planned its response to Western sanctions, Kobyakov was there. When they strategized their pivot to China and Asia, he was advising. When they decided to start stockpiling gold instead of dollars, his fingerprints were all over it. This is Putin's guy for understanding how the global financial system works, and more importantly, how America manipulates it. So when someone at this level, someone who's been architecting Russia's economic strategy for years, stands up and says the US is about to pull off the biggest financial reset in history, we need to pay attention. This isn't speculation or theory. This is what Russia's leadership actually believes is coming. And honestly, when you look at the evidence, it's hard to argue they're completely wrong. Now here's where stablecoins completely change the game. You see, when the US inflates the dollar through traditional methods, Americans feel the pain immediately. Higher grocery bills, more expensive housing, rising energy costs. People notice and they get angry. Politicians face consequences. But stablecoins? They export that burden globally. Here's how it works. The Genius Act, which President Trump signed into law, mandates that every single stablecoin issued in the United States must be backed one-to-one by US Treasury bonds or cash. No exceptions. So when Tether creates $1 of USDT, or when Circle mints $1 of USDC, they have to go out and buy US Treasury bonds with real money. Right now, Tether is holding $127 billion in US Treasuries. Circle holds another $55 billion. Combined, they're the 18th largest holder of US debt in the entire world. That's bigger than Germany, bigger than South Korea. And Scott Bessent, Trump's Treasury Secretary, projects that stablecoins will hit $3.7 trillion by 2030. Think about what that means. China has been dumping US treasuries. They're down $1 trillion to $756 billion. Japan's been selling. Foreign ownership of US debt has dropped from 34% to just 25%. The traditional buyers are walking away. But stablecoins? They have to buy treasuries. It's literally required by law. Every person in Argentina trying to escape their collapsing peso by buying USDT, every business in Turkey avoiding the crashing lira by using USDC, they all become treasury buyers without even knowing it. They're funding America's deficit through the back door. $3.7 trillion in guaranteed treasury demand. That's the plan, and it's already working. Now here's the part that even most financial experts miss. Where are all these dollars actually coming from? Because if stablecoins need real dollar backing, how does this help reduce America's debt burden? The answer is sterilized reserves. Right now, US banks have $3.2 trillion sitting at the Federal Reserve. This is excess money that's been parked there since the quantitative easing programs after 2008. For over 15 years, this money has just been sitting there doing nothing. It can't be lent out. It's not circulating in the economy. It's essentially frozen, earning a tiny interest rate from the Fed. The banks keep it there to avoid triggering massive inflation, but here's the mechanism that changes everything. The Genius Act allows banks to use these Federal Reserve deposits as backing for stablecoins. So a bank can take $1 billion in excess reserves, use it to back $1 billion in stablecoins, and suddenly that same money is moving again. It's the same dollars, not new money, but now they're activated. They're flowing through the economy. When that $3.2 trillion starts circulating through stablecoin systems, prices begin to adjust. The dollar starts to weaken relative to real assets, and that $37 trillion in government debt, it starts getting devalued automatically, not through printing new money, through activating money that's been trapped. This is the part Russia seems to misunderstand. Kobyakov thinks America is going to print stablecoins out of thin air like we print regular dollars, but that's not how it works. We're not creating more money. We're unleashing what's been sitting dormant, and the effect is exactly the same. The debt burden decreases without the US government technically defaulting on a single payment. But what about Bitcoin? This is where things get really interesting. Michael Saylor, the billionaire CEO of MicroStrategy, has been very public about his advice to President Trump. He told him to sell all of America's gold and use that money to buy Bitcoin. His reasoning: if the US dumps all its gold, it would crash the gold market and hurt competing nations like China and Russia who hold massive gold reserves. Their assets would plummet. Meanwhile, Bitcoin's price would skyrocket as America buys millions of coins. Our balance sheet gets recapitalized. We control the world's reserve capital network. It's a bold strategy. But here's what actually happened. During Trump's presidency, the idea of a US strategic Bitcoin reserve got teased but never fully materialized. Trump's Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent, publicly stated no taxpayer dollars for Bitcoin. The strategic reserve bill looked dead on arrival. But maybe it's not dead. Maybe it's just not happening the way we think. Look at the pattern with other strategic industries. In 2022, the CHIPS Act passed because America needed semiconductor independence. Did the government just go buy Intel stock? No. They gave Intel $50 billion in subsidies and grants, then took warrants and equity positions. Private innovation happens first. SpaceX builds rockets, then NASA contracts them. Amazon builds AWS, then the CIA uses their servers. The private sector takes the risk, then the government captures the value. So maybe the strategic Bitcoin reserve is already being built. MicroStrategy now holds over 660,000 Bitcoin. Marathon and Riot are accumulating massive amounts. The Bitcoin ETFs have hundreds of billions in assets. Maybe the government just hasn't taken their cut yet. Maybe when Bitcoin becomes too important to ignore, the US swoops in and takes equity positions in these companies, just like they did with Intel. Saylor's plan might be happening through the back door. Not as official government policy, but as private accumulation that the government can later leverage. And nobody would see it coming until it's already done. So is Anton Kobyakov right? Yes and no. He's absolutely correct that America plans to devalue its debt. That part is inevitable. The mechanism is already in place and it's already working. But Russia misunderstands the technical details. They think the US is going to print stablecoins out of thin air like we print regular dollars. That's not how it works. Stablecoins require real dollar backing. You can't just create them from nothing. But what Kobyakov doesn't fully grasp is that we don't need to print new money. We're activating $3.2 trillion in sterilized reserves that have been sitting dormant since 2008. We're creating guaranteed treasury demand through stablecoin regulations that force issuers to buy government bonds. And we're exporting the inflation burden globally so that anyone holding digital dollars shares the pain. The genius of this system is that it doesn't look like traditional money printing. It looks like private innovation. It looks like free market adoption of new technology. Companies like Tether and Circle appear to be independent businesses just responding to market demand. But the regulatory framework ensures they're all feeding into the same system. Buying treasuries, supporting the dollar, spreading American monetary policy across the globe. When that $3.7 trillion in stablecoins hits the market by 2030 or sooner, the dollar will weaken against real assets. Gold will go higher, Bitcoin will go higher, real estate, commodities, everything tangible will rise in price. And that $37 trillion debt? On paper, it stays the same, but in real purchasing power terms, it shrinks dramatically. America doesn't default. America doesn't even admit to devaluation. We just let the math do the work. And the rest of the world? They're left holding devalued digital dollars while their purchasing power evaporates.